Listen. Listen closely.
Sorry. I just remembered how many times you said tomorrow. You really believed yourself, didn't you? That's the funniest part. Not the lie itself, but how confidently you repeat it. You clap for others. You admire discipline from a distance. You binge success stories like entertainment. You know every quote, every rule, every shortcut. But when it's your turn, you disappear! Bravo. Outstanding performance. Outstanding performance. You love the highlight reels. You love the finished product. You just hate the part where effort costs something. That's okay. That's human. What's not okay is pretending you're confused. You're not confused. You're avoiding pressure. You're avoiding commitment. You're avoiding the moment where excuses stop working. Look at the pattern. You get inspired. You make a plan. You feel powerful. For about 5 minutes. Bored. Quiet. Demanding. And suddenly you're tired. Suddenly you're tired. Suddenly you need a break. Funny how motivation always disappears right when discipline is required. You don't fail loudly. You fail politely, softly, respectfully. I'll do it later. I'm not in the mood. Tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow, your favorite hiding place. Tomorrow keeps you feeling capable without ever demanding proof. And this is the exact second you usually hesitate. Not because you don't understand, not because you're incapable, but because action removes the comfort of pretending. Watching is safe. Nodding is safe. Agreement is safe. Action is not. Action exposes you. It removes the audience. It takes away the excuses you've been polishing for years. Because once you move, you can't hide behind potential anymore. You can't say, "I would have," with a straight face. That's why you stay seated. That's why you clap. That's why you admire from afar. It's safer to respect discipline than to practice it. Respect doesn't require effort. Discipline does. Let me tell you something you won't hear often. Being the audience feels productive. It feels like progress. It feels like participation. It's not. It's consumption, and consumption never builds identity. You keep thinking you're preparing, watching, learning, saving clips, collecting advice. Preparation without execution is procrastination with better marketing. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. You don't actually fear failure. You fear confirmation. Confirmation that effort hurts. Confirmation that discipline demands consistency. Confirmation that no one is coming to do it for you. Because once you try seriously, you lose the luxury of excuses. That's why you prefer the noise, the endless content, the voices telling you you're not alone. You're not alone. You're just inactive. And inactivity has a strange side effect. It makes you critical. It makes you judgmental. It makes you clap louder. You notice flaws easily. You spot shortcuts in others. You analyze from the sidelines. That's what happens when energy has nowhere to go. Do you want to know the real reason this bothers you? Why this hits a nerve? Why you didn't skip this part? Because you know you're capable of more. And capability without action turns into quiet self-contempt. You don't hate discipline. You envy it. You envy people who can sit down and start. You envy people who finish. You envy people who don't need a speech to move. And instead of becoming one of them, you study them like a documentary. Safe distance, no risk. But admiration is a dead end. It never turns into momentum. This is where the choice actually is. Not should I change my life? That's dramatic nonsense. The real question is smaller. Will you start before you feel ready? Will you move even if you don't feel confident? Even if no one is watching? Even if there's no guarantee? Because that's what separates the audience from the person on stage. The stage isn't glamorous. It's quiet, demanding, repetitive. That's why most people never step on it. So don't clap, don't admire, don't agree. Stand up, pick one thing, start badly if you have to. Because momentum doesn't come from confidence. Confidence comes from momentum. This video ends here. The noise stops here. The excuses stop here. You always clap until it's your turn. And now you feel it. That slight tension, that urge to move or to escape. This is where you usually click away. This is where you tell yourself you got the message. This is where nothing changes. Because understanding has never been your problem. Execution has. You don't lack information. You lack follow-through. And follow-through is uncomfortable because it demands one thing you keep avoiding: responsibility for the outcome. When you watch others succeed, you can admire them without risk. You can analyze, you can critique, you can stay safe. But when you act, the result becomes honest. And honesty scares you more than failure. Because failure can be explained. Drift can be justified. But honest effort, that removes the story. No if, no but. Just what you did or didn't do. That's why you delay. That's why you soften your standards. That's why you stay in the audience. It's not laziness, it's self-protection. Protection from what? From discovering that discipline hurts more than you imagined, and that it works anyway. Look at your patterns honestly. You don't quit because something is impossible. You quit when it becomes repetitive. The first days excite you. New routine, new mindset, new promises. Then comes the quiet. No praise, no visible progress, and that's where you vanish. Not loudly, politely. You tell yourself, it's not working. I need a better system. I'll restart next week. Restarting feels productive. Restarting feels clean. Restarting is still avoidance. Progress doesn't come from restarting. It comes from continuing. Continuing when it's boring. Continuing when it's quiet. Continuing when nothing applauds you. That's the part no one posts. That's the part no Prometra brags about. That's the part that separates builders from spectators. You keep waiting for confidence, but confidence is late. Confidence arrives after evidence. Evidence of what? Evidence that you kept going. Evidence that you didn't disappear this time. One finished task, one completed session, one promise kept. That's how trust in yourself is rebuilt, quietly, without drama. And stop lying to yourself about time. You don't lack time, you leak it. You leak it in small surrenders. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, hours gone without resistance. You don't need heroic discipline. You need controlled environments. Where you sit matters. What's within reach matters. What you allow during work matters. If your phone is next to you, you're not serious. You're tempted on purpose. Remove the temptation. Not once, always. Focus isn't willpower. Focus is setup. You set the rules in advance so you don't have to negotiate in the moment, because your future loses every negotiation with your comfort. Now, hear this carefully. This is not about becoming extreme. This is about becoming consistent. You don't need to work all day. You need one protected block that actually happens. One block. Same time, same place, same rules. Miss a day, return the next. Miss 2, you're drifting again. Consistency is fragile. That's why it must be defended. And yes, you'll feel resistance. You'll feel boredom. You'll feel the urge to quit. That's the work. You don't need to feel strong. You need to act steady. Strength fades. Standards remain.
And the strange thing? You don't hate that sentence. It scares you because it's familiar. You've heard it before. Not from me. From yourself. That quiet voice that shows up when the room is empty, when the screen goes dark, when there's nothing left to distract you. You drown it during the day. You bury it under noise. You silence it with entertainment. But it always comes back at night when clapping stops. That voice doesn't insult you. It doesn't yell. It just asks one question. Why didn't you start? And you never have a good answer. Just explanations, just stories. Stories keep you comfortable. Truth makes you responsible. That's why you avoid it. Because responsibility changes things. Responsibility removes the audience. Responsibility removes sympathy. When you act, nobody claps at first. Nobody notices. Nobody cares. That's the part you weren't told. That's the part you weren't prepared for. You imagined effort would feel heroic, like a movie scene, like instant validation. But real effort feels ordinary, repetitive, quiet. And quiet makes you restless, because restlessness exposes impatience. You want results fast because you don't trust yourself long term. That's the truth. Speed feels safer than consistency. Intensity feels easier than endurance. Short bursts protect your ego. Endurance does not. Endurance demands honesty. Endurance asks, can you stay when nothing exciting happens? That question breaks most people. including you, until now. Because staying is a skill, not talent, not luck. Staying when bored, staying when progress is invisible, staying when doubt whispers. You weren't trained to stay. You were trained to react, to switch, to escape. So stop blaming yourself. Start retraining yourself. Retraining doesn't look impressive. It looks repetitive, almost boring. That's why it works. You don't rebuild a mind by attacking it. You rebuild it by proving consistency. 1 hour a day beats 1 intense week, every time. 1 finished task beats 10 planned ones, always. Completion creates confidence, not motivation, not hype. And confidence doesn't shout, it settles. That's why loud people tire you. That's why chaos drains you. Because part of you craves stability. Stability is not boring. It's powerful. Stable people finish. Stable people decide once. Stable people don't renegotiate daily. You renegotiate everything. Wake time, work time, rest time, and every renegotiation weakens the agreement you made with yourself. That's why your mind doesn't listen anymore. It learned your words are optional, so stop talking, start showing. Show up when it's inconvenient. Show up when it's quiet. Show up without witnesses. That's how authority is built. Not over others, over yourself. And once you have that, you stop needing speeches. You stop needing reminders. Because your habits speak louder. Right now, you're still listening. Good. That means you haven't quit yet. Don't waste this moment by feeling inspired. Inspiration fades. Use it to act immediately. Not dramatically, quietly. Stand up, pick one thing. Begin. And when no one claps, when no one notices, when nothing feels different.
Funny thing about your turn. It always arrives quietly. No drum roll, no warning. You expected fireworks, a surge, a rush, a feeling that finally pushes you. Instead, you got silence. And silence makes you nervous. Because silence doesn't distract you. It watches you. It waits. I love that part. The waiting. Your mind starts fidgeting. It offers deals. Just later. Just after this. Just not now. It says it sweetly, convincingly. That's the trick. Madness isn't loud. It's polite. It smiles. It nods. It agrees with you. And then it steals another hour. You feel that itch? That urge to move for no reason? That's the habit fighting back. Don't panic. That's good news. Because resistance only appears when something is finally changing. You don't need to crush it. You need to outlast it. Sit with the itch. Let it talk. Don't answer. It hates that. Oh, it really hates that. This is where a little madness helps. Not chaos, defiance. Stay. Just stay. Count 10 breaths. Not to relax, to anchor. Your mind will try to interrupt. This is stupid. This won't matter.
That's fear wearing logic. Fear doesn't scream, it reasons. And you've been obeying it because it sounds intelligent. Don't argue. Continue. You don't need a breakthrough. You need a streak. One day, then another, then another. Boring, right? Perfect. Boring builds. Exciting burns out. Here's the tiny madness I promised. Smile. Just a little. Not because it's funny, because it's yours. You're smiling at the urge, like it's a child throwing a tantrum. That smile, that's control. You're not fighting yourself anymore. You're leading. Leaders don't rush. They persist. And persistence is quiet, almost invisible. Which is why no one claps. Which is why no one notices. Good. Because applause ends. Habits don't. So when the thought returns, and it will, greet it. I see you. Not today. Then return. Again. Again. You're doing it right now. Staying. Listening. Not running. That's it. That's the shift. No noise. No clapping. No audience. Just you. Finally taking your turn. Keep going. This part is strange for you. Not loud enough to entertain. Not dramatic enough to escape. Just real. Your mind keeps checking. Is something about to happen? It hates this space. Because this space has no excuses. No performance. No one to blame. This is the moment where habits either tighten or loosen. And right now, you're learning something new. You can feel the urge and not obey it. That's rare. That's dangerous. That's power. You thought power was intensity. Power is restraint. Power is delay. Power is choosing not to react. You've been reacting your whole life to messages, to moods, to boredom. Reaction made you busy. Reaction never made you better. Busy people clap the loudest. It makes them feel involved. Focused people, they're quiet. They don't have time to clap. That's why silence scares you. Silence exposes where your attention actually lives. You're starting to notice it now. The way your thoughts jump. The way they want stimulation. Let them jump. Don't chase. You don't need to catch every thought. You just need to return. Return to the breath. Return to the task. Return to the standard. Returning is boring. That's why it works. Every return weakens the old pattern. Every return strengthens the new one. You don't feel different yet. Good. Feeling different comes later. Acting different comes first. You've been waiting for feelings to change. They won't until behavior does. Behavior is louder than emotion. Behavior rewires emotion. Science hates drama. It loves repetition. You're repeating something right now. Staying. Staying when nothing is happening. Staying when there's no reward. This is the part no one records. This is the part that counts. Soon, your mind will try a new trick. It always does. You've listened long enough. You get it. You can stop now. That's impatience, not insight. Impatience always wears wisdom's mask. Don't argue with it. Just stay one breath longer. One breath becomes two. Two becomes habit. Habits don't need motivation. They just run. You want a habit that runs? Feed it silence. Feed it consistency. Not excitement. Excitement is sugar. Consistency is nutrition. Sugar tastes better. Nutrition lasts longer. You've been malnourished, on noise, on novelty, on approval. That diet made you restless, not strong. This steadiness is what strength actually feels like. The subtle, almost disappointing. That's why so few people have it. You're not fixing your life right now. You're fixing your relationship with time. Time doesn't respond to urgency. It responds to consistency. Urgency burns you, consistency builds you. You've tried burning. Look where it got you. Try building. And don't make this heroic. Make it repeatable. Tomorrow, 1 block. Same place, same rules. No performance, no audience, no clapping. Because clapping is easy. Staying is not. You already know what to do. You always did. You just didn't want to stay long enough to do it. Now you are. Keep going. Not exciting. Not dramatic. Just demanding. That's why you never practiced it. You practiced everything else. You practiced reacting. You practiced consuming. You practiced escaping. No one ever taught you how to stay. So you assumed staying was weakness. Funny mistake. Expensive one. Staying is strength without noise. Staying is confidence without witnesses. Staying is choosing discomfort on purpose. You've been trained to believe that if something matters, it should feel urgent, loud, pressing, emotional. But urgency burns out. Pressure cracks you. Emotion lies. Calm effort lasts. That doesn't sell well. That's why no one advertises it. You're starting to feel the shift now. Not excitement, weight. Responsibility has weight. Freedom too. That's the irony. Discipline feels heavy at first, then it carries you. Chaos feels light at first, then it crushes you. You chose chaos for years because it felt easier. Easy doesn't mean harmless. Easy just hides the cost. You're paying it now, in fatigue, in restlessness, in that constant feeling of being behind. That feeling doesn't mean you're late. It means you're ready. Ready scares you more than being lost. Lost has no responsibility. Ready means there's no one left to blame. Ready means action is the only answer. That's why you hesitate. That's why your body tightens. That's why your mind looks for exits. Exits everywhere. You built them. Close one. Just one. Not forever. Just for this block. The mind panics when doors close. It thinks it's trapped. It's not trapped. It's contained. Containment is clarity. Clarity is power. Power again. You like that word. You thought power was domination. It's direction. Direction without speed still wins. Speed without direction crashes. You've crashed enough. So slow down. Not to relax, to aim. Aim doesn't rush. Aim waits. Waiting with intention, not drifting. That difference matters. You keep thinking focus means intensity. Focus means exclusion. Excluding noise, excluding impulse, excluding everything that isn't the task. That feels lonely. That's because it is. Growth is lonely at first. That's why crowds don't grow. Crowds clap. Builders stay. You've been a good clapper, observant, insightful, not useful. Usefulness requires friction. Friction creates resistance. Resistance creates strength. Same rule everywhere. Gym, mind, life. You avoided resistance. Now you avoid strength. Change that order. Don't wait for motivation. Start tired. Tired work counts. Bored work counts. Unseen work counts. It all counts. You want reassurance? Here it is. You don't need to do everything right. You need to do one thing repeatedly. Repetition scares you because it removes novelty. Novelty is distraction. Repetition is transformation. This moment, right here, is not about understanding anymore. It's about choice. Again. You've made the wrong choice many times. That doesn't disqualify you. Quitting does. So don't quit. Not dramatically, not heroically, quietly. When this ends, do not chase another voice. Do not scroll for. Notice how your body wants to move. Not because something is wrong, because stillness is unfamiliar. You spent years training motion, clicking, switching, escaping. Staying feels like rebellion. Good. Your mind will try again. It always does. It will pretend to help you. You should plan first. You should optimize. You should learn a bit more. Helpful thoughts. Perfect timing. That's delay wearing intelligence. You've trusted it before. And it stole months. Sometimes years. Not this time. You don't need a better plan. You need a harder boundary. Boundary between thinking and doing. Once crossed, no return until the block ends. That scares you, because boundaries end negotiations. Negotiation is how you lose. This is where the small madness helps. Just a touch. Watch this. Decide something simple, unimpressive, concrete. I sit for 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes? Your mind laughs. Let it laugh. Laughter is cheap. Sit anyway. You'll feel the itch at minute 2, the urge at minute 4, the story at minute 6. Stories are loud. Time is quiet. Choose time. If your hand moves, bring it back. Not angrily, casually, like returning a shopping cart. That casual return, that's discipline without drama. You've been dramatic. Drama made you feel alive. It never made you effective. Effectiveness is boring. It works. You're learning something dangerous. You can be uncomfortable and okay. No collapse, no panic, just presence. Presence doesn't clap, it builds. This is how your relationship with time changes. Not with promises, with receipts. One finished block, one closed loop, one honest end. Ends matter. You avoided them. Finish something today, even if it's small. Small finishes train big finishes, always. You wanted confidence. This is where it hides. Confidence isn't loud. It settles after proof. Proof comes from staying. Staying comes from choice. Choice again. You keep meeting it. That's because this is your turn. Not tomorrow. Now. When this ends, don't look for applause. Don't check reactions. Don't scroll. Sit down. Start. And if nothing feels different, good. Different comes later. Discipline comes now. See? You're still here. That's the work. Keep going. This is where things finally become simple. No tricks, no intensity, just clarity. You don't need to understand more. You need to do less, better. One task, one block, one decision you respect. The noise has already shown you what it offers. Temporary comfort, permanent delay. You've tested it enough times. The results are consistent. This path is quieter. It doesn't flatter you. It doesn't rush you. It asks one thing only, that you stay. Staying is not force, it's consent. Consent to do what matters without argument. You don't have to fix your whole life. You only have to honor the next hour. When the mind wanders, you return. When motivation drops, you continue. When doubt appears, you proceed anyway. There is no drama in this, and that is its strength. You've spent enough time reacting. This is where you respond. Response is slower, more deliberate, more accurate. This is how self-trust is rebuilt, quietly, repeatedly. Each finished block changes something small. Enough small changes alter direction. Direction shapes a life. You are not late. You are here. The work does not need permission. It needs presence. So sit. Begin. Stay until the time is complete. Then stop. Rest without guilt. Prepare the next block. This rhythm is sustainable. This rhythm works. You don't need applause. You need continuity. Continuity builds confidence. Confidence builds calm. Calm protects focus. This is not a breakthrough. It is a return. Return to the task. Return to the plan. Return to yourself. Keep going.